Evening. We are here for our weekly anchor message, which is our spiritual assignments for the week. I was about 10 minutes shy of being able to film before work today, but I was like, I didn't want to rush the video, so I decided to film after and not be too hard on myself. As you guys know, I've been trying to shift my schedule for a long time to be able to finish all my work before work so I can come home and rest, but here we are, all the same. Happy to do it either way. All right, so from the wild unknown archetypes, we've got the castle, followed by the riddle, followed by the mountain. Underneath the castle, we have the King of Wands. Underneath the riddle, we have Ace of Cups. And underneath the mountain, we have the Knight of Pentacles. I'm going to let y'all listen to the audio really quick, and we'll come back and we'll unpack the cards. To be on a truly spiritual path is not to hunker down in a bunker until it's all over, but to meet the darkness head on. Like Lieutenant Dan riding the mast of the sail through the hurricane. It is only when we face the darkness and embrace the assignment that we can transmute the darkness. Are you a muggle? Or are you going to awaken your true capacity to be the cause of what you are creating? It's like God gave us all the materials and a studio and available resources to study and learn painting. But we still have to become painters. And that's a process that unfolds over time due to the apprentice's desire to show up, make an effort, practice, discipline, and restriction. Constantly showing up with intention, attentiveness, and care. It takes practice to maintain presence and awareness and to become artful in our observation and perception. It's a slow and steady trek up the mountain, but consistency and grounded action and discernment will get us there, both spiritually and materially. The immaterial can shift in an instant, allowing us to open our channel to miracles. It becomes a matter of desire and will to restrict and act upon our higher consciousness. So, this week's Torah portion is talking about the story of Balak and Balaam. And they were these two characters, and all the characters in the Torah represent aspects of ourselves. And so Balak had been invited to join this sort of like plan, conspiracy thing against the Israelites and Moses. And he himself prayed and asked God if he should jump in on this plot and this plan and this scheme, if this was something that was something he was supposed to do, if he was being led in this direction. And God was like, no, of course not. And instead of being like, oh, I see that this is maybe not the answer I was looking for, but I trust your guidance, God, and I'll pass on this opportunity. But no, Balak was like, I don't know if I got the answer. I don't know if I'm clear. Maybe I'll reshuffle the cards and ask again. That's called oracle abuse, by the way. When you keep shuffling, hoping that you're gonna get a card that reflects your own wishes and desires instead of facing the truth. That's called oracle abuse. It's as old as time. So so Balak had prayed, and he was like, should I join this conspiracy against Moses? Because, people were always trying to oppose Moses. They always thought they knew better, they had better leadership, better plan, whatever. So this was a common theme coming up over time, over those 40 years in the desert. So Balak prayed. God was like, no, you shouldn't do this. And he was like, are you sure? Are you sure I shouldn't join this plot? I'm going to pray. I'm writing to you again, God. Do you want me to join? They've asked me to join this plan, to rise up against the Israelites and Moses, plot against them, join this other group. Like I'm feeling the vibe with them. Like maybe I should do this. Should I do it? And eventually the answer he got was yes, just go for it then, if that's what you want so bad. And so the story, and of course they were in turn cursed instead of their curse cursing the Israelites. But the moral of the story here is Balak represents the aspect of our essence that represents our motives, our intention. And when we are praying without pure intention, like when you think of pure intention, some people kind of like think of that in a reductive way that's just, oh, my intentions are nice. I mean well for you. I'm hoping that this turns out well and you grow from my intention. Or I have, positive intentions, but there are intentions. I think pure intentions means that you are pure of intention and that you don't have intentions. And your intention really is to align with the will of divine, knowing that that's going to play out the best in the end. But Balak didn't want that answer, and he represents the part of us that we ask for, direction and guidance, and we get a sign that's like, yeah, probably not the best direction to go, and we ignore the red flags and we do it anyway. And then on down the line, there's a price to pay for it, or chaos, and we don't make the connection. We're like, how could this be happening to me? And it's like, well, because of those series of events and choices and actions you took before that you were guided against doing, but you did it anyway. Because the universe will support your desire and your will, even if only temporary. Because there are positive angels working to help you reveal your soul's greatest light, but there are also negative angels like listening in that work for the adversary, that work for the Satan, and they can show signs too. And so, they might help you succeed in something and make it seem like everything's going good and it looks like a blessing, but really it's keeping you diverted from your true purpose, your true path, right? And so it seems harmless, like, oh, let's bless this project for this person. It's like I was talking to a friend at work, and people are always telling me how funny I am and how I can just say something straight up and it just captures what everybody's thinking and they can't put into words as fast. And sometimes I think, like, what if the reason I've never succeeded in anything is because I'm just supposed to go to an open mic night, and that's going to be the beginning of success for me. And this girl was like, you know what, you should do a comedy account and, make it like your, where you post funny things or whatever. And I thought about it, and I have the perfect branding and everything. And it really, it's like that dangling shiny carrot, because I thought about it, but what I knew was going to happen is that if I did start that comedy account, that it would become successful. And that would take up all my time and attention. And I would be on the train of making this comedy career a success. And Satan would bless me in that comedy career. And I would make people laugh and I would be making money. But I would also be probably tripping up and doing a lot of evil tongue and using my negative sarcasm to make things funny. And there would be time away that I could be studying the mysteries of the Torah. Not that this is the purpose for everyone, right? I'm not like one of these prudes that's like, you should be doing your Bible study instead of going and watching sports. Like, it's not for everybody. Like, I feel like everybody has their own calling, right? Not everyone needs to be like this studious and serious about it. But I feel like this is my purpose and calling. And so, you see what I'm saying? The adversary can make something look very attractive and harmless, and it can make it even look successful. Like, wow, you weren't supposed to do that other thing because you were always having such a hard time. It was always so challenging, but look at this. It's really taken off. It's so easy, right? How many times have you wanted to date a person who you knew was toxic, who you knew maybe wasn't available in whatever fashion, or maybe they were They didn't want to offer you what the depths of what you were looking for, or whatever. But we've all had that person that we know isn't good for us. And we ask the angels and we ask God, and we're like, should I date this person? And we pull all the cards, and we're like, and it's all like, no, red flags, listen to the red flags, like caution, all that glitters is not gold. Like every card in the book that comes out that's like, don't go there, like stop, like detour, turn around. We're like, if only there was a sign, right? There's a movie with Steve Martin. It's hilarious. It's called The Man with Two Brains, and it's a really quirky early 80s comedy that kind of went under the radar. But he's like this kind of mad scientist, and his wife dies, and he's in this mansion, and he wants to remarry because he's met this babe or whatever. And he's like, the portrait of his widow is behind him. There's something about this. And so it's like something about another woman, and the picture of his wife is behind him. And he's like, well, man, if only I knew that it was okay to move on, you know, or if you didn't want me to move on, I wouldn't. And then, and he's like, if you just send me a sign. And then like the whole room starts going crazy, like a haunting, and like the pictures are all like spinning, and like the furniture is all flying through the air. And he's like, just a subtle sign. If only you would send me some kind of indication to know that you don't want me to do this. And of course the room is like flipping itself inside out. And so funny. But like we're totally like this. And Balak in the story was like this. He wanted to go along with this plan. He probably was going to get some kind of benefit from joining in, you know, and maybe promise some sort of you know, leadership or whatever. But either way, this plan was enticing him, and it was something that God was like, no, this is going to lead to, you know, negativity or chaos or calamity. You shouldn't do this. And he was like, are you sure? Is there a sign you can send? And so eventually he got confirmation, like, okay, go for it. Like, this is the universe that you're choosing for yourself. This is the path you're choosing. We're not going to stop you. There's no coercion in spirituality. You have free will. So the universe, you know that phrase, the universe has your back? It's true. The universe will have your back. Whatever you put your willpower and your desire in, and your action and your intention and your momentum into, the universe will have your back. But what part of the universe? Is it the negative angels that are trying to throw you off? Or is it the positive angels that are trying to lead you into your fullest, you know, fulfillment and potential? So our perspective and our motive and our intention kind of clouds our judgment sometimes, and we ignore the truth. And so we really need to discern and be open to that truth. And like we were talking about, this is piggybacking on yesterday's point, that if we are attached to outcomes and we have this fixation on the fact that the outcome that we want is the best one, then when we don't see that coming into form, or when something is counter to that, we get uncomfortable, we see it as a negative, we start to feel negative emotions and hostility, and then we start to close ourselves off as a vessel, and we start to get further from our path, and we start to generate more negativity. And so we're always creating, right? We're always manifesting, but we're manifesting from the seed of our consciousness. So it's like we need to wake up and realize what we are manifesting, and be conscious, purposeful manifestors. So when we, instead of looking at the world through eyes of judgment, basing things on the five senses, we do ourselves a favor if we realize, like, I know what appearances are, but I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So I'm going to decide that I am blessed no matter what I'm seeing, right? Because we know that what we observe and what we believe, it can actually affect our reality. This is a quantum observation and quantum physics. And so if we assume that we are cursed and that we're victimized and this is unfair and that's unfair, then the universe is going to start showing us victimized, unfair, cursed, poor, broke. Something's always going. If it's not this thing, it's not one thing, it's another, right? Instead, we need to be, instead of being muggles and looking at life like mere muggles, non-magic doing folk, We need to look at life through the eyes of a righteous person, through the eyes of a tzaddik, through the eyes of the Creator, and see everything as a blessing. Everything can be turned around to serve a purpose. So if I'm blessed, I'm favored, I'm highly favored, I'm blessed, my life is getting better and better. Everything that happens, even if it seems like a hiccup or a roadblock, is a blessing. And I just don't know why it's a blessing, but I trust that it's a blessing. Then the universe, you start to align with blessings. Your intentions, you're uplifted in your spirit. You have positive expectation. And what you see is God working through life and through nature and through circumstance and through people. And so you have what's called good eye and instead of evil eye. And you start generating more and more goodness because of that good eye. And if you aren't attached to an agenda with a white knuckle grip, then you're not going to be trying to manipulate the answers. I remember earlier in my life when I was the one picking a card again and again and again, trying to get the card that I wanted, telling me that the narcissist that I was anxiously attached to, who was so good looking and so charming and so bohemian, I wanted the cards, I wanted the prayers to tell me that everything was going to be great, that he was going to be the one, that he was going to be, you know what? If I had believed the lies that I was telling myself, I would still be going in circles, around in circles with this guy, because he always resurfaces over the years and tries to call me from another number, text me from another number, reach out to me on social media. These people will waste your entire life. They will. They never get old. You will haunt them forever. And you'll think it's because you're so special, but it's their psychosis, right? So, and it's our own dishonesty, right? But, and at that time too, I was doing so many just readings for myself all the time. I was always asking and pulling cards for things because in my heart, there were things that I wanted. There were dreams that I wanted, and I wanted these specific goals to come through. And so I was needing constant reassurance that I was on the right track, that my goals were going to come through. Were my goals going to come through? And now I'm totally different. I'm so relaxed that I do these readings because these are readings that help us stay in touch with our deeper inner growth, through the week. But my own personal reading, I do one a week. I do it on Sunday. I'm not asking even any questions other than, God, what do I need to be aware of this week? What are you teaching me? What's coming out? What are we looking at here? And I don't have an agenda. I'm not clinging to an outcome. And so it is nice to be in surrender because I think that, I'm not anywhere at the perfect level of this. When I want something, but I know now I can trust that if I want something so bad that's not really on my path, I can force it and manifest it into being, but it's eventually gonna fall through or lead to chaos or cost me something in the long run. But when I align with my higher purpose and my higher self and the path starts unfolding for me, I start to get all these wonderful bonuses and boons and blessings and things develop, and it seems like it unfolds in a way that is more fulfilling. So if you're not chasing after that blessing, then you're not coming from a place of lack or force, right? Or agenda. But when you are, I'm already blessed. I'm blessed in everything. Everything that's truly meant for me is coming to me. I am making an effort. I'm meeting God halfway. I'm here. I'm showing up and doing everything that I can. But at the end of the day, I'm surrendered to the outcome. And I know what's in the highest good is going to unfold. Right? And I'm not sitting back and complacent waiting for life to come to me. I'm proactive, but I am not forcing my will, and I'm not devastated when things don't play out exactly the way that I expect them to. right? I'm much more flexible with life in that way. And I think it's easier to feel blessed from that place. And when you are feeling blessed and believing blessed, it's generating more of that same thing. But when you start to get edgy and irritable and feeling victimized and, oh, this isn't fair, life's giving me the short end of the stick, and I can go there very easily too, that starts to generate loss, chaos, things that are costly, haste makes waste kind of things. Like, you start spilling something, you ruin this, you lose that. It's like the card, you know, like, I lost my card, blah, 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 blah. Like, it will start yielding chaos. So the castle card here, and we've got the King of Wands, and the castle card is like, the castle has a twofold idea, because from inside the castle you can be fortified and you can have comfort and privilege and be in a higher kind of like a royal state of consciousness, right? But from inside the castle, you can also be isolated and locked off, and you can be shut off from the world, right? So you can become too fortified. And so I feel like when we try to over control everything and plan life down to the last, crossing every T and dotting every I, not leaving any room for organic spontaneity, it's coming from a place of fear, and we're not allowing God to move through our life. And it can really kind of like dampen our passion and our creativity and our excitement, because we're being over controlling, and that's not a conducive environment for fertile imagination, right? But and as a spiritual person, we don't have the luxury of going off into the hermitage or into the mountains and spending decades there in prayer and silence to become elevated, right? We're in the real world, right? We have to do this in real time. So we can't lock ourselves away, right? I started thinking about it today, like the evangelical culture of bunker building and prepping and like this plan to like lock themselves up and survive and hole up and hunker down. And I remember hearing about all of this as a Christian growing up, and I remember thinking like, so what, like the spiritual battle is going to be happening in the end times, and you're just going to be hiding somewhere in a basement eating noodles? Aren't you supposed to be out in the world being in that spiritual battle, like being a soldier for the light, right? So the King of Wands is industrious and passionate and committed and beating the drum for his cause. This energy in reverse can be overbearing and domineering, but in the upright position, it's like someone who has heart and passion, and they're committed not only as a partner in romance, but in whatever they're doing, but they're also a very industrious person. So I feel like something about our passion and our direction is it's coming alight, but I think we're going to be safer by surrendering the need to control or the illusion of control. We actually, when we try to control everything, we put ourselves in more of a risk, because the universe is like, oh, they looks like they're pretty fearful and controlling. They need a process. Wow, looks like things are gonna have to turn upside down in their world, because we always have to have that illusion crack. We're not in control. So when we give up control and we surrender control and we trust, and we kind of have that spiritual free fall, it actually puts us in the hands of the Creator and opens up the path before us, and like we can trust the detours are moving us in the right direction, right? It's like when you go to the airport and your flight gets delayed, and then you have to make other plans, and then it's like you spend some time in the airport, and some people that starts to ruin their whole day, and they just get so uptight and so stressed out, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to surrender and go with the flow. And so then that person, at the best, they're going to have a terrible travel day for the rest of the day, just in a bad mood, but things could degrade from there. Whereas, you've also been in this situation where you're maybe with a friend or something, or maybe by yourself, you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy myself. I'm going to chill, get some snacks, do it up. I can't, control the situation, so I'm gonna make the best of it. And then what do you know, like something opens up and they find you a seat, and it's, goes a lot faster than you'd ever planned. And Esther Hicks talks about this all the time. It's like getting on your high flying disc. It's kind of the same. And it's like just trusting that whatever's happening can turn into a blessing if you can activate the blessing in it, and it can turn into a curse if you activate the curse in the situation. It's all up to us. We are the creators. We just need to learn how to be the cause of what we are creating rather than the effect of the circumstance and then creating by accident. So instead of locking ourselves off and trying to avoid life in order to control all the variables, we need to open up and protect, use that castle energy in a strategic way. Protect our consciousness, protect our perspective, protect our enthusiasm and our energy, right? By not letting that sourness and that bitterness seep in, and that cynicism. And so the riddle here, I think, with the Ace of Cups is the riddle of any situation is, okay, looking for the creator's face. In a confusing set of circumstances that feel uncertain, can you find your way through this without feeling cursed? Or when you see that moment where you're like judging the situation, you're like, this isn't going the way that I want to, can you spot that this is the moment where the change is happening, where I can shift into consciousness and be in this moment with intention and choose to transmute this negative energy into a blessing, right? When there's a couple of different ways they describe being able to see the purpose within a situation, or see the creator, or perceive the creator moving within a situation. And there is, when you are face to face with the creator, it means that you can be in the darkness, you can be in the midst of the challenge, in the storm, and you know that the creator's with you, and you know the creator is moving through these circumstances to do something within you and to change your life. And this is a catalyst moment, even though it's uncertain and uncomfortable. Then there is seeing the back of the creator, and that's when you can see the creator, but it's it's in hindsight. In the moment, you didn't realize that the creator's in the house. The creator just left. You just missed the creator. It's like when you go through that storm and you're caught up in the fear of the storm, and you're handling it the best you can, but you get in the weeds and you forget. You get caught up in the stress of it all. And once the storm is over, once the storm is passing and you can get your bearings again, you're like, oh wait, okay, I know God's with me. I can see in hindsight how this played out for my highest good. In the end, on the other side of it, after the healing, I was able to grow, and now I know how to help other people in this situation. So that's being able to see the creator from the back. You see the creator walking away. You see the creator just after the storm has passed, but you're not face to face with the creator in the midst of it. And then there's the worst case scenario where you have your back to the creator. You're back to back with the creator. And that is in a situation where you're going through hard times. You cannot see any light. You can't see any hope. You can't see how any of this is going to ever amount to anything but a curse and a devastation and hardship. You can't see the potential. You can't see how things could turn around. You're sort of in complete despair at that point, and you're in total darkness, right? And so when we're looking at the mystery of life, we don't always know how things are playing out or how things are working together or why things happen the way that they happen. But when we have that surrender and trust, it allows for the spiritual renewal and this childlike trust to come in, where you can let go and you can be free and you can find joy and play, because you're not carrying all the burden and weight of the cosmos on your back, on your shoulders. And so that makes way for, not only spiritual renewal and peace, God's rest and fulfillment, but it allows your creativity to flow, and it allows you to be a creative and prolific manifester. When you see God moving through life, when you're in a situation and you're like, man, this is the shit sandwich. You know what? I love the shit sandwich, because last night we were talking about how that shitty situation is raw material for clean, renewable energy, right? It's like the uranium that they use to make nuclear energy with. It's a shitty situation. So when you get handed a shit sandwich and it makes you feel all those dark feelings and that all the negativity that's within you, that's good, because that's stirring up that negativity so you can scoop it out and turn that bitterness into sweetness. You're transmuting that lead into gold. You're turning that curse into blessing. And when you transmute that energy, it's revealing eternal light. It changes that forever in the cosmos. And so you're able to tip the scale, right? And it releases all kinds of magnetism within you, but it allows you it elevates your consciousness so that you have more influence over your reality. And the feat seems impossible sometimes, but the spiritual path is a winding one. And it's like we are going up this mountain, but we never really get to the top of the mountain. It's like a staircase that kind of never ends, or like a ladder that just keeps going. We don't get to the summit of the mountain and we're like, all right, we're here, we're done. But the mountain is a symbolic image, because we know, like, when we have a long journey and it's not going to be easy and it seems almost insurmountable, right? We see it like a mountain. When life presents us a challenge that we have to overcome, or something that we want to build, it's yet another mountain that we come to. And always, as the Israelites, we are always coming to Mount Sinai, where God is up at the top of the mountain. And it's a journey to elevate to that lofty place, right? That higher level of consciousness, those higher concepts of seeing deeper than the world of the five senses, but knowing that just beyond the world of the five senses, we are surrounded by endless miraculous light that can generate miracles. And we just need to attune ourselves to channel those miracles through. And so it feels impossible. It feels overwhelming. Not only does our spiritual work feel overwhelming and impossible sometimes, but sometimes just our outer goals can feel like we'll never get there. But if we're slow and steady and sure, and we keep showing up and we're consistent and we stay grounded and discerning, one step at a time, we will summit the mountain. We will go around and around and around, and we will continuously go up and up and up. But that is where God is calling us. It's like that faint voice, that light that we can feel coming from inside the mountain. We can feel the riddle calling to us from up there, can't we? Every time that the hero's journey calls us again, hey, there's this thing that's going to be a whole lot of work, and it's going to be a whole lot of risk, but you're being called towards this. Something is calling you. Something is inviting you up, right? So we take step by step by step. The thing about the Knight of Pentacles is that they're the most dependable, right? You can trust them to follow through. They're not the most flashy. They're not the fastest. They're not the most romantic, smooth talkers, but they're dependable. They show up, they take a step by step by step, and they get that done. We also have, we have the full moon in Capricorn at the end of the month. So making things material, making things solidified. All right, you all, that is all for tonight. We will be back together tomorrow for our weekly manifestation message. And until then, may peace be with you. Ciao.